Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So I want to talk a little bit about how I organize my cool downs, and just like everything I talk about on these coaching videos, and this is primarily for the coaches out there, but this can also be for the members out there that are interested in how I organize my cool downs and why. But there's always this layer as a coach of trying to remember why people are in here, and they're trying to improve their lives and have kind of a social experience where they just feel welcome and they belong. You don't have to be best friends with everybody, but it's nice to have small conversations and people who smile at you. So a lot of what I do in my class planning, a lot of how I manage a group has to do with balancing this, give people the best coaching experience technique-wise as possible to make sure that they're physically progressing, but also tying in these elements of how to develop a culture and a community of people who work together and are basically a team that support each other. So I'm always balancing these things out. So with everything, I'm starting with what would make for a good cool down. And what we know is that we work out. We got a lot of acid that builds up in our muscles. Our lymphatic system only works by muscle contraction, meaning if you do all of this workout stuff and then you just sit there, everything pools. The only thing that makes your lymphatic system, the thing that presses and pushes all the waste out, is muscle contraction. Okay, so we know slow, easy, non-fatiguing movement like walking around, hopping on an exercise bike, doing easy exercises, those muscle contractions are going to be what promotes blood flow, but also promotes the muscle contractions needed to push the waste out through the lymphatic system. So we know moving around is super, super important. So that's where the slow cardio is going to come into play, but we'll run through this in detail after kind of the high level. We also know that being hot and sweaty is a great time to take advantage of being hot and sweaty. And if we're trying to do mobility and stretching exercises before we're hot and sweaty and warmed up, it's not going to be very effective because our tissues are still tight and they're not kind of loosened up. So after a workout is a great time to take advantage of already being hot and sweaty. But we also want to keep in mind that if I just did a bunch of lunges or a bunch of hip bridges or something that just smashed my glutes out, again, wrong word, something that just pumped my glutes out and they're just super fatigued, that's probably not the best time to try and make progress mobility-wise. So as I'm choosing the exercises or kind of the body part that I'm focusing on or the movement pattern that I'm focusing on, I'm usually looking at the day before or the day after to decide what could benefit people. But if my biceps are pumped out from doing a whole bunch of pull-ups, doing mobility on the biceps probably isn't the best bang for your buck in that moment. Okay, so let's go through what we're doing, why we're doing it. So 3 minutes of slow cardio. This is pretty simple. This is going to be get blood flow moving, easy muscle contractions. I always recommend in my classes that we're going to either walk or hop on a bike and go real slowly. Okay, why do I choose these? This goes back to the community building. So if we do a group walk, what we know is that the closer we can get people without making them hold hands and do all this other stuff, but if I can just get people close to each other, going for a walk, what's going to happen is if I had done my job before class and in the workout, they're more likely to talk to each other and start having conversations. It's so easy to talk to somebody after a workout you just did with them because it's so easy you can talk about that workout. There's so much to talk about. Putting them on bikes is great because the bikes can be right next to each other and you're just sitting there going slow. It's nice and easy. It's so easy to have a conversation with people. So the reason, there's a million slow cardio things we could do, but the reason we choose these are because they're very conducive to conversations. Then what we do is we pick a mobility exercise. We like to stretch. We like to smash things with foam rollers or lacrosse balls. So on this example, I just picked a glute smash. So now what can happen, especially if you're having a conversation with somebody, you can move from your walk or your bike over onto the ground next to each other, keep talking, and we can start doing mobility on your glutes. Then we have a little bit of a stretch, a pigeon pose, which can also be glutes, hips, yada, yada, yada. So these things are kind of in line. I like to massage the tissues with a lacrosse ball or a foam roller, doing our mobility work, and then stretch the area. So just as far as what kind of makes sense for a cool down, I like this order. You could add in some movement pattern work okay, now that we've stretched and smashed, now let's do some squats, making sure that our butt cheeks are flexed up at the top, or maybe do some lunges. So that would be an awesome thing to add in also. But the key here is what I found is the reason I don't add those in, even though they would be great, is now you've got something that's going to break up the conversations because it needs too much focus. So if I can get a class, what I do is workout's over. Before you put anything away, come up to the board. They come up to the board. Here's what the cool down is going to be. It's going to be 3 minutes of slow cardio. Today we're going to do a group walk, or just hop on a bike. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Before you do any of that, put your equipment away. That way the next class can start using the gym, but also so they don't go through this and have to stop their conversation to go put their stuff away. So they put their stuff away. They start on the slow cardio. Usually that starts sparking up some sort of conversation that continues on to glute smashing, that continues on to the pigeon pose. And I know I've done my job well if when this is over, they stick around and keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. So in the gym, we have a very specific area we do these things. That way you're not doing these at a spot where the next class needs to be, because that would break up the conversation. We have a very specific area that we do them. So if you're starting to have a conversation and the group is over here and the group is over here, I want that group being able to hang out for as long as they want to hang out. And the longer they hang out, the better I know our community is doing here. And if it's just bam, and then right here you start getting the excuses of why they need to leave early today, that's when you're not doing your job. So that's how I set my cool downs up. And it's very specific, not only to be something that's going to progress mobility along, to help people actually speed up the recovery process. So it's not only good for them, it's actually set up, and I choose to do these things in a certain way at a certain area of the gym to promote those conversations. Because as a coach, as a gym owner, getting the community to grow and be with each other and talk to each other is everything. You don't need to rely on your coaches to have all the conversations. If you teach the members and promote and cultivate them having conversations with each other, it is so, so powerful. Hope that helps. Talk to y'all soon.